If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
Billy Cundiff here, back in Baltimore, at least for 15 minutes here. We're doing a good turn for ovarian cancer. Luke Jones with us as well. I just want to say this for you, because some people are going to say, Cundiff, you're having Cundiff on the show? He wants to come on in Baltimore after all. And I'll tell you this, you were always a guy of high integrity, a guy of character, and a guy of accountability. I will never forget, I was as crushed as you were. If you believe me, I was as crushed as you were. I was 10 feet away. I asked the first question. You came out you had a purple tie. And I was in that room, crushed again 2 weeks ago. I remember, I remember that press conference. I remember being there holding the AFC Championship. I remember your event. I remember blowing the lead 2 weeks ago. I mean, that room has great associations for me where you had to walk out and face the world after missing a kick that in Baltimore we sort of healed the next year by winning a championship. But, I mean, and then you lose your mother-in-law, and then I guess it really puts things into perspective for what sports is, and we've talked so much about integrity the last couple of weeks just because of the Patriots and footballs and all that stuff. There are a lot of good people in the league lately. Sometimes you succeed and sometimes you fail, and that's another lesson, and that's something that you talked about right there at the podium hot, and I'll never forget that.
I appreciate that. Obviously, I don't ever want to downplay things in the sense of, like, I don't want to minimize the fact that, for me, that was a moment that I was extremely disappointed, kind of shocked the way things played itself out. I always made sure that I took blame for what was mine, but at the same time, I understand that the situation was pretty unique, and it was something that as I've gone through my career, I'll probably never get into that kind of situation with all the different things that went into it. But I felt really bad for the guys that actually left the team. Like, the team got their Super Bowl, and they ended up getting a great kicker. Like, Justin does extremely well. Like, he's probably one of the best guys in the league in his time while he's played. But I do want to make sure that people understand there is a proper perspective that needs to be had. Like, when you lose somebody you love and you watch how precious life is, again, it doesn't minimize things, but it just places it in its proper place. And knowing that when you're a football player, you go out there to try to succeed, and you want to, especially if you're a professional, you're expected to perform at a high level. But you want to make sure that it is not a life and death situation in a football game. Whereas, unfortunately, when you watch somebody deal with a terrible disease, that is a life and death situation.
We've both been through it. Luke, go ahead. I know you got a million questions for Bill too.
Is it strange for you to think back about your time with the Ravens because of how it ended, because you revitalized your career in Baltimore? I remind people all the time, you made the Pro Bowl in 2010. I mean, clearly disappointment in New England, but I would have to think there were plenty of happy memories, I guess, prior to that moment.
There was, and I think the one thing that kind of gets lost in all of it is I was, 14 to 15 in my time in the playoffs as a Ravens kicker. I only missed one kick.
Right.
And in that time, I felt like, again, I'm not trying to not take any blame, but I think there was a lot of situation around that kick that really kind of made it really tough for me to swallow, because it wasn't like I just walked out there and kicked the field goal and missed it. Like, I felt like kind of things were out of my control. A little bit of it was out of my control, but I took responsibility for it. I enjoyed my time there. I really did. And the thing that I miss the most about it, I love the city. I love my time there, but it's the guys I played with. Right. And the guys that actually, a lot of them aren't there anymore. Like, the guys that really made my experience, Ed Reed and Ray, and even you get down to Jared Johnson and Corey Redding, and you just keep going down the list. Like, these guys were solid pros. Like, they've had great careers. For me, the thing that I look back and I guess I struggle with is just knowing that the certain guys that left missed out on their chance to win a Super Bowl. Obviously, the city and the team was really excited the next year. Things worked out. They went ahead and they got it, but it's the guys that missed out on that opportunity that sometimes it gets tough to swallow.
What's next for you in your career? I mean, I know Cleveland, at the end of 2014, they let you go. You were hurt. Yep. I understand that. Do you want to keep kicking? I know you've talked a lot about life after football, but you've been playing that, 12, 13 years? And
you had life without football in the middle of it, right? And a lot of guys don't have that.
And here you are still playing.
Yeah, it's like you were joking about earlier. I do prepare for football every year. I've been doing it since 2002. But there's plenty of interest. In fact, there was an opportunity to play for a team at the end of the season, but I wasn't quite ready to go. Right. So we turned that down. There's plenty of teams that continue to talk, and I had that conversation with my agent the other day. I'll keep playing, and I think that there's a need for it. I've always been able to stay in the league because kickoffs are such a big factor. They continue to minimize that, and as they continue to minimize that, I'm sure that teams see my value continue to decrease as the value of kickoffs decrease. But I enjoy playing. I'm a competitor. I think that kind of gets lost in a lot of things that, the football games, it's tough to get in the league, number one. It's tough to stay in the league. But to find that level of competition, that's something that I strive for, I look for, and I'll miss when I'm done playing.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the kickoffs, because in 2010, I mean, the touchbacks. I mean, I remember I would tweet out, thinking I was trying kind of clever, but Iron Foot Billy Cundiff, and that was something that changed your value. Clearly, the disappointment in Foxborough, but I mean, that was your thoughts on how the game is. Where it's heading right now with the kicking game specifically. I mean, you've seen the kickoffs move to the 35, more touchbacks. Your advantage that you had was kind of neutralized there. And now even at the Pro Bowl last weekend, we're seeing the goalpost narrowed. Yep. Your thoughts on where the kicking game is heading in 2015 and beyond?
Yeah, I think eventually they will get rid of kickoffs. I think the league is, whether it's through the lawsuits that are coming up with the head trauma, right. Trying to, again, make it player focused, or whether it's the fact that they just don't like kickoffs. Like, let's be honest, it seems like they don't like it. I think as a special teams guy, I really enjoy the play. Like, it is a big momentum shift.
Mike Westhoff was here the other day. He was special teams 30 years in the league. And he said one of the reasons he didn't want to coach anymore is he didn't want to coach without, coaching 30 to 35% of what he used to coach, which is kickoff coverage.
It's true.
He said it's just the game's different now.
It changed the game. Like, obviously, when he was to the Jets, he always knew that they always had a good returner. And if I didn't get a touchback or you didn't put the ball where you need to, they had a good chance of running it back. But the stat guys always have liked me during my time in the career, because they make all these stats about kind of the value if you're able to do both. And as, again, like you said, when they continue to take away the field goals or take away kickoffs, that does decrease my value. I know that last year going into the offseason, they had me ranked as one of the top 3 kickers, where most fans will look at it and say, well, this guy's garbage on field goals. And they have all these kind of perceptions of what it is. But if you look at the just raw stats and take out the emotion, I still provide a lot of value. So I think that's the reason why I continue to stay. And then once they get rid of the kickoffs, then I'll go do maybe commercial real estate or something else. Those are the things I'm looking into this offseason.
Sounds good.
He's living a good life out here, man. It's a dry heat, right?
It's a dry. They say that, yeah, but they're crazy. They're crazy.
Billy Cundiff, we're out in Phoenix, in your hometown now, and tell us a little bit more about what you're doing, and tell people where they can do something nice for your foundation. You lost your mother-in-law to ovarian cancer, and obviously that's something that hits home, and it really does mean a lot. You're coming back and visiting with us.
No, I appreciate it very much. We've been very lucky. In just the 2 years we've been around, we've given out over $250,000 in research grants.
Wow.
And gifts. We've become the largest privately funded ovarian cancer organization in the state of Arizona. We're trying to obviously take things to the national stage. We're truly trying to make a difference. And if people want to help us out, they can go to colleensdream.org and see more about what we're doing, see how we're supporting research right there close to home in Baltimore. And we're trying to make sure that we use the platform of football while I'm still playing to our advantage, and know that we're going to outgrow that, and we're going to continue to get people all around the country involved, because we already do have people all over the country involved. What we're doing, we want to continue to expand our base and let people know that just a little bit of money, it's all going to go to research. We make sure we take care of the admin costs. That money's going straight to research to make sure we can make a dent in the landscape of ovarian cancer.
High character guy, Billy Cundiff. Appreciate you, man.
Awesome.
Nice for stopping by, and thanks for the love for my wife as well. And maybe we'll see you out here in the desert. I'm out here I'm in Arizona on July the 2nd. It's a Thursday night. They play the Rockies.
You are a brave man coming out here in July.
Don't have the roof.
I might not be wearing clothes. I might just be naked.
That's between you and your wife.
Well,
that's not.
She won't be with me. That's even worse. I can hang out in the pool though. They got a pool out in the outfield.
You do. That's the pool
it's been done before.
of infamy. They're obviously got hard feelings about what happened with the Dodgers and all that stuff. So.
All right. Well, I'll be out here.
Awesome.
Yeah, maybe you can get me a fan or something, or an air-conditioned
most of
vehicle.
us here try to get to California when it's that time, because it's a scorcher.
Oh, that's where you go. I'm like, where do people go when it's 120
All the zonings go to California.
Not Vegas.
They've had enough of us, by that time.
Bill Cundiff here on Radio Row. Super Bowl 49 coverage continue. All brought to you by Charles Newsonoff & Sons and Continental Title. Luke and I will be back for more. You can email Luke at WNST.net. I am nasty at WNST.net. Twitter, Facebook, around the world in the palm of your hand, even in Chandler, Arizona, via the Buy a Toyota Audio Vault. We are WNST.net and AM 1570 WNST Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.